Hi, Dave Roscoe here. It is Monday, September 22nd, 2025, and I know a lot of you are wondering what the hell happened with the Pi coin last night. And I'm just going to say right now that there is no need to panic, and I'll tell you why in just a bit. Last week, I mentioned a rumor about Pi Network meeting up with Sign at the blockchain summit in Korea. And it turns out that that was a real thing. I still don't know who the hell Sign is, but the meeting did happen. And we'll talk about that in just a minute. And I also have an update on the anti-scammer bot. I'm seeing a disturbing trend that I just want to nip in the bud. So we'll talk about that as well. But first, the metrics. The anti-scammer bot stands at 7 wins, 3 losses. If you or somebody you know has a compromised wallet and you have an unlock happening within the next month, reach out to me in the comments and let's see if we can save your Pi. The circulating supply is 8.19 billion Pi, and there were no user accounts to speak of. Actually, about 51 accounts, which is meaningless, migrated in the last 24 hours. However, over the weekend, there was a large amount of Pi migrated. It wasn't a huge amount of accounts, but it was a large amount of Pi, something like 80 million Pi. So these were relatively larger accounts that were migrated. And we've seen this sporadically recently. So I'm not sure what that means, but migrations did happen over the weekend, just not happening today. There is 15.6 million Pi in the Pi migration wallet, and migrations are not happening right now. The migrated unlock rewards are at 3.10 billion Pi, and there was 25.3 million Pi unlocked over the weekend and now free to be traded on the open markets. Looking at the price action, this is what everybody's worried about. We often talk about God candles. It's that long green candle that signifies a huge spike in the price, and everybody's hoping to see it. What you're not hoping to see is this, and I'm calling this a doom candle. And it just looks really bad, right? It's red, it's long, it's going in the wrong direction. But look at this. From September 15th and probably earlier until yesterday at around 2 a.m. Eastern time, the price was very stable. I mean, very stable. This almost looks like a stable coin. And then at 2 a.m., and this literally took 1 hour, the price dropped more than 18%. And it saw a low price of 22 cents and then has since recovered. You can see it. Buying pressure came back in and it had since recovered to about 28, 29 cents. And a lot of people are asking what the hell happened. Well, I will tell you this. Cryptos across the board took a huge hit. A lot of the people out there are calling this the crypto crash. And they're not wrong. A lot of cryptos took big hits. But the Pi network took a disproportionately large hit of over 18%. And I'm here to tell you right now that this is pure and simple market manipulation. And I'm going to explain. 2 a.m. is a very telling time for this to have happened. The American markets are pretty much dormant. There's nothing happening. US market makers are not in play. The Asian markets are at midday, and the European markets are just starting up. Liquidity is extremely low, and all it takes is one sell order. And it's got to be a pretty large sell order. And the funny part is it doesn't even have to be real, right? You can play games with the order books where you can put out an order and it will have an impact on the market, but the order itself never executes but the damage is done, because what it does is it changes all of the numbers, and every single person who has stop losses set will start to trigger a sell-off. It's automatic, right? And that has a cascading effect, triggering other stop losses. And then you have automated bot selling, which then kicks in, and it drives the price way down. And now the fact that it came back up at 22 cents is very telling. That means that there were other automated processes, or maybe even, buy orders set at that price to push it back up. So this, pure and simple, was an orchestrated dump, not by the Pi Core team, but by whales and institutions. And we are now level set at about 28, 29 cents. And some could argue is that this is where the price should have been. The fact that it was up 34, 35, it made a lot of analysts uneasy, thinking that it really shouldn't be there. And we saw a lot of analysts saying that the price should have been around 27, 28 cents. And that's where we're at right now. Now, I don't know if this will recover further. Maybe it will, maybe it won't. But my point is that there is no need to panic. And I'm going to go back to the chart and show you why. If the Pi coin were dead, you would have everybody trying to sell their coin, and there'd be no buyers. And the result of that would be a huge amount of open orders on the market that aren't being filled. Instead, what you see right here, the daily trading volume up 758% at 160.42 million. I don't think I've ever seen volume this high. And you can see it here. It's nothing, nothing, nothing. And then bam, right up there. What does that tell you? That tells you that market makers in whales were waiting for this to happen. And now they're all swooping in to buy gobs and gobs of Pi at dirt cheap prices. Everybody who sold, everybody whose stop losses got them liquidated, you were played. Okay, there's no reason to panic here. There's absolutely nothing that can explain this drop. Yes, a lot of cryptos dropped, but this particular drop was far greater than any other. And that is because it's exactly what they wanted to happen. And now the whales and institutions have a whole lot more Pi at really low prices, and they're not done yet. I mean, this is happening right now. 757%. That's not selling, people. That's buying. And they're all buying at this price. Okay? So anyone who says the Pi coin is dead just doesn't know what they're talking about. The Pi coin is far from dead, and the trading volume speaks volumes. Now, I'll go over the rest of the numbers here, but it's not that important. The Pi coin is currently trading at 28 cents, which is down 20.6% than this time yesterday. The market cap is at $2.32 billion, which is down 19.6%. Actually, I think this is wrong. It's actually down 19.6. I was looking at the 7-day. And of course, the trading volume. It's this trading volume that tells us everything we need to know about what's happening. Now, I wanted to show you this. I mentioned last week that there was a rumor going around that Pi Network was going to meet with Sign in blockchain week in Korea this week. And I couldn't get confirmation on that, but today I have it. This post on X shows the Pi Core team engaging in discussion on stage. And you can see the signage in the back, Pi Network and Sign. And one thing I'll point out here is that Dr. Kokalis and Dr. Fan do not appear to be people who are struggling with a failing coin. They're getting out there. They're making connections. They're executing on their plan. And they're going to keep executing on their plan. As far as they're concerned, it's full steam ahead. And if they are still pushing forward, so should we. I guess the thing I want to stress here is that despite this price, and this is the problem right now with being obsessed with price. I've said all along, I don't really care what the pie price is. I have no intention of selling. I still have a long order in at prices that I probably won't see for quite a while. But if you're going to spend your time looking at the price right now, you're going to be very unhappy. And you're just creating a lot of stress for yourself. If you bought pie on the exchanges, then yeah, you have reason to be concerned about the price because you're probably losing money. But for most of us who mind it, it doesn't really mean that much. I mean, yeah, if you're itching to sell it, then yeah, that's a shame because you're not going to really get a lot of money for it. But I can't even tell you how many times the Pie Core team says that this isn't a get rich quick scheme. And the Pie coin has been out less than a year. Like I said, it doesn't matter what happened 6 years ago. The Pie coin became real on February 20th, 2025. Everything starts from there. The one big thing that we get from being in it for the last 6 years is we have a whole bunch of pie that we never had to pay for. That's it. And whether you believe in the project or you thought you were just going to make a lot of money, it doesn't matter. I still believe. I've seen some people distancing themselves from pie. Woody Lightyear has gone a little bit negative on pie, but I still think his heart is in it. That Mr. Spock guy, his name escapes me right now. I liked his posts. I follow him, but he's taken a decidedly negative view on pie lately. And that's okay. Even Ray from Ray's United goes back and forth between cheerleading for pie and trashing pie. And for me, I don't really have extremes. I believe in the project. That hasn't changed. And like I said, unless I see evidence that the Pie Core team is dumping their pie and buying an island somewhere in the Caribbean, I will continue to believe in pie. They're way ahead of a lot of other projects out there and doing what they're doing. And there's no reason to think that they won't ultimately be successful. There is something to be said about being first. There's a lot of copycats out there right now, but the Pie Network was the first. And they've got a lot of momentum behind them, but there are other people coming up on their heels, so they do have to execute. So I want to talk about my anti-scammer bot. I've said this before. My anti-scammer bot will not be used to steal from other people. I have a process in place that I use to verify that the people that I work with actually own the wallets that they're trying to save. And it's a process. And I've had people try to pressure me to bypass my system and work with them without that verification. And I refuse to do it. There's just no way in hell I'm going to be used to steal from somebody else. No way. The most common tactic is they'll take an imminent unlock. You know, it's happening today. It's happening within hours. I need this now. Otherwise, we're going to lose it. Help me, help me, help me. And they won't give me the information I want, or they can't for whatever reason. And maybe they can't. And I'm real sorry about that. But my gut tells me that I'm being played. And I wasn't born under a rock. I spent a lot of time thinking about how I was going to do this ethically and build trust. And I'm not going to deviate from that. I'm also not going to deal with third parties. if you know somebody who has a compromised wallet and is at risk of losing their Pi, they need to contact me, not their brother, not their friend, not their cousin, because that's how I prove they're the owners. If there's a language barrier and they just can't do it, give it your best shot. But at the end of the day, if I'm not satisfied, then I'm just not going to help. And I'm sorry about that. I'm not going to lose anything. I'm not standing to lose. I want to help, but I'm not going to hurt. So keep that in mind before you reach out to me, because I'm unwavering in my morals. I know there's a lot of unhappy people out there today, and I'm not one of them. I will admit, when I got up this morning and I took a look at the Pi price, my jaw hit the floor. And my first thought was, holy crap, what the hell happened? But the sky is not falling. The Pi price is recovering. It's not back to where it was. And a lot of people weren't happy with where it was before. So I doubt they're much happier now. But like I said, I don't care. The price is what it is right now. And I couldn't care less. And I've had people come at me because I don't care about the price. And they do. And it's like, well, why? You're free to be worried about anything you want. You're free to care about anything you want. But what you're not free to do is tell me how I should feel. Now, I tell you how I feel because that's what I do. I give you my opinions. I give you my thoughts. And that's why you're here. If you don't like it, leave. It's as simple as that. I never ever beg people to watch me. Okay. I just put out whatever it is happening as factually as I can. And I'll tell you what I think. You don't agree with me? That's fine. You don't have to. But I expect people to be respectful. And if you really just don't like what I'm putting out, you're free to leave. Move on. But I do have a lot of people who are really supportive of what I do, and I appreciate all of you. So forget about the price right now. I'm telling you, this was pure and simple manipulation. Yes, there were market pressures that were affecting Pi, but they were affecting a lot of crypto. But it is clear that this particular drop and the magnitude of this drop was engineered for a specific purpose. And we're seeing that purpose play out now. This is the same old thing that happens with every crypto. And the fact that it's happening with Pi should tell you that the whales and the institutions see something in Pi. They see potential. They see future value. And that should tell you something. So don't panic. Stay the course. And remember, the success of the Pi network begins with you. Pi to the moon. Peace.